I wasn't gonna, put anybody else in danger, it was to take myself out, it wasn't to put anybody else in danger. Like, I would obviously make sure that it wasn't gonna do any harm to anybody else, like.
And obviously, I don't want anything to happen to you either.
We are about to watch the parole hearing of a woman who just cannot stay out of prison. Now, I'm going to share information with you that might surprise you at the end of this hearing, and I'll also give you the results. For now, let's jump in.
In regards to your offense, I do show that case 2419-01344. I show on May 11th, 2024, an officer observed a vehicle traveling with expired registration. A traffic stop was initiated. The driver was Diego and the passenger was Miss Sandoval. Diego stated the motorcycle belonged to his friend. A record check revealed both individuals were on APMP. The Sandoval provided a pouch with a prescription bottle containing a white and brown substance. She said it was mushrooms. 8 used hypodermic needles were also located. She said she used it for meth. Is that correct, ma'am?
Correct.
Anything you want to say about the offense? How do you know Diego?
I was just a friend.
Okay. Do you still have continuing contact with him?
I do not.
Were you using at the time, ma'am?
I was.
Okay, what were you using?
Mushrooms and meth, but it was just that month. Prior to that, I was.
Meaning you were using in that month?
It was just that month. Yeah, it was prior. Before that, I was sober for 5.5 years.
Okay, so can you kind of expand on that for me? It sounds like 5.5 years. That's
Yeah,
a really good amount of time.
yeah. I'd end up just getting sick. So I ended up getting. I had just found it because I was at a rehab. I had prior because I was at the prison here. I'd gotten released. I had to go to the core program. I had graduated from that. I'd gotten sick. I had they'd sent me to this clinic or whatever, and they said that I had cervical cancer. And so
Sorry to
that
hear
just
that.
kind of tipped me off, and I was just like, okay, whatever. And my PO was just saying, Karen Prevedel was at the point saying, well, she's not doing this and this, but how do you only get 4 UAs? And it even says in my board jacket that none of them came back dirty. None of them came back. I was never refusing any of my UAs. So, and it just was like, okay, well, what's the point type thing. So that's just where my conclusion was. It's like, whatever. Like, even before that, I had just driven my Jeep off a cliff. So that even, I know it's kind of absurd, but yeah.
And I think we're going to get to that because
Yeah.
we'll talk about that in the probation report. But I do want to ask, so have you been getting treatment for cancer?
Yeah, I've been going to the U. I'd gone. I was actually microdosing with those mushrooms. I mean, the bill passed last year, so it's legal, but I didn't have a prescription at the point, so that's where all that was.
Okay.
So I guess I could have gone all about it the right way, but I didn't. So
Okay.
not saying that it's what's the word? I was enabling it.
I mean, but I'm asking, right? Because I
Yeah,
want insight,
so.
because it sounds like you were talking about, 5.5 years, like I said, that's a really long
Yeah.
time.
Right.
And I would assume that that's what you wanted, was to be sober if you were doing it
Yeah.
for 5.5 years. So I'm trying to get insight, which I appreciate. And it sounds like you went through
What?
a lot of struggles, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I do want to make sure I get to what happened on parole. So we will talk about that in just a second, but I definitely want to get to the allegations contained in the warrant. I want you to understand, ma'am, if you plead, admit, or no contest to any or all of these allegations, the rights that you're waiving, okay?
Yeah.
You're waiving your right to have the state prove in an evidentiary hearing by a preponderance of the evidence standard the allegations they maintain. They would have the ability to bring witnesses and exhibits. You would have a right to cross-examine them. You would have a right to bring your own witnesses and exhibits. If there were any unadjudicated criminal charges, you could remain silent. The board can make an inference from your silence. You'd also have the right and be appointed an attorney. Ma'am, if you plead, admit, no contest to any or all of these allegations, do you understand that you're waiving those rights?
Mm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're fine.
I know.
Number 1, by having committed or having been convicted of a new criminal offense or violated a court order, possession of a controlled substance, Class A misdemeanor, or having associated with the person involved in that criminal activity on or about May 11th, 2024. Admit, deny, or no contest?
Admit.
Number 2, by having committed or having been convicted of a new criminal offense or violated a court order, use or possession of drug paraphernalia, a Class B misdemeanor, or having associated with the person involved in that criminal activity on or about May 11th, 2024.
Admit.
Admit, you said? Sorry. Number 3, by having associated with the person involved in criminal activity, probationer and felon Diego Labia.
Yeah, I admit, I don't know his last
Okay, I
name.
apologize if I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah,
On or about May 11th, 2024.
yeah.
Uh,
Admit.
Um, number 4, by having used methamphetamine on or about May 11th, 2024.
Admit.
Number 5, by having failed to report to APMP on the date released from prison, report is directed, absconded parole, or left the state of Utah or any other state to which transferred without written permission from the parole agent on or about May 11th, 2024.
Admit.
All right. Number 6, by having failed to establish, reside at, or change without prior approval of APMP the residence of record on or about May 11th, 2024.
Admit.
And last one, ma'am, by having failed to enter into, participate in, or complete treatment as directed on or about May 11th, 2024.
So that one's conflicting, I guess. I'm not, can,
You can plead however you want, ma'am.
okay, I don't admit,
Deny?
yeah, I deny that one.
Okay, because obviously I'm not your attorney, I'm a hearing officer, so you get to decide how you
Yeah.
play it. Yeah, okay. So you did admit to allegations 1 through 6. I can revoke your prior parole and take judicial notice of the new case, okay? So I do want to talk about allegation number 5 specifically, and that's where in the warrant request, I think, talk about what you were talking about. They talked about, and I don't do this to be rude, right? I'm just trying to get insight to what was going on. That you were driving, the officers located your vehicle, you had taken off down a canyon road,
Yeah.
and that you had made it sounds like not very far, and that you crashed
Mhm.
and went down the mountain. Obviously that's concerning. I don't know if there were individuals around your vehicle, but obviously the potential there could be very dangerous. So kind of tell me what was going on there.
I just wasn't in the right mindset, and I mean, I was by myself, and nobody was around. Obviously, I wasn't gonna, put anybody else in danger. It was to take myself out. It wasn't to put anybody else in danger. Like, I would obviously make sure that it wasn't gonna do any harm to anybody else. Like,
And obviously I don't want anything to happen to you either.
I mean,
But
that was what the point was, but in that moment, I mean, I'm doing way better now, and because
what do you contribute? You're talking about things are different.
yeah.
So why do you think that change has occurred?
Well, I mean, because I'm better. I'm taking medication, whereas back then I just kind of stopped doing everything. I'm in an Aspire program right now, and I kind of just stopped talking to a lot of people. I mean, I wasn't surrounding myself with the right people back then. Um, I think that I had to get a clear mindset. I had to stop doing what I was doing. I had to stop talking to a lot of people. I mean, I'm probably just being redundant right now, going in circles, but um, I am being more receptive to, feedback, whereas I just wasn't then.
Are you also seeing anybody for mental health?
Yes, and it's monthly right now, which I'd like to see more often, but like, it just seems like they're just more so in the way, oh, well, we'll only see you for meds. Well, no, I'd like to be seen for, to talk to somebody, not just for my medication. Like, I need a therapist, that's where we're at with mental health here. We need a therapist. We need someone to talk to, not just for medication. Like, we need to be talked to.
Gotcha. So how would you describe your current mental health?
I think it's good. I mean, not the best, but it's good. I mean, I go to work every day. Like, ever since I got out of like the RNO intake, I go to work every day. And
Where do you work?
I work in culinary.
Good.
Yeah. And the last time I was here, like from where I was at last time, the 3 years I did, it's way better than I was, because I was usually in max or mental health. And that's a huge step from where I was. I'm not getting write-ups. My last, major write-up was 2 years ago. Whereas here, I've only got 3 negative C notes from the beginning. And
I show no disciplinary violations, which is really good, ma'am.
from last time I was here. Yeah. And, I've had better communication with officers and inmates. And, I go to work every day, go to school for an hour every day so I can graduate. And, it's just, I'm trying to do the best that I can.
It's good. It's good. It sounds like you're thinking of things that you would like long-term.
Yeah.
Which is really good. Any particular goal you have for long-term or success?
Yeah. So I'm actually, so when I was out this last time, I was doing firefighting, wildland firefighting.
I saw, yeah.
Yeah, and so I want to continue doing that. And my long-term goal is to just do that and be able to get my LLC in business so that I can eventually do my own, get my own company and try to bring maybe the wildland firefighting here for women who can, eventually do themselves good.
Good.
And if that doesn't work out, but try something else. But that's just been a big thing of mine, and just to continue forward with that and just go up the ladder with that. That's just my biggest thing is, looking at something bigger than my own.
Sounds like you've thought about your future, which is really good, and goals you want to set, which will help. Sounds like you want to be sober again, obviously.
Absolutely.
So those are all good things. Do you think you need substance use treatment?
Well, I think my biggest thing area is I think it always helps, having that, crutch right there. But I think that at this point on, like, seeing how my mental state is my biggest problem is where that leads me to all of that, because that's what my biggest downfall is, my mental health.
Okay.
That
And-
leads me to going into all the other things.
And I'm asking, right? Like, I want insight into because if you were successful, that's good for you, that's good for the community, that's good for the board, right? Like, so I want to hear what you think will help in your success, right?
Yeah.
And I also show that you completed anger management. Is that
Yes,
right?
I
What'd you
did.
think of that?
I actually liked it because seeing as where anger isn't really what it is, it's emotional regulation.
Okay. So did you learn ways to deal with that?
I did. I
Okay.
did.
Do you want to share any of those or?
Well, yeah, there's this episode or this movie that they showed us, or this video. It was just like, what is water? And there's just this craziest thing. It's like you never really know what people are going through because it's like day in and day out, and just regulating your emotions, and like all of it is just you gotta um you know I don't know. Sorry, I'm just really
It's a,
bad at,
but
like,
yeah, it sounds like you took it in and learned some things that
Yeah.
could be helpful moving forward. So that's really
yeah,
good.
exactly.
Okay, ma'am. In regards to release plans, I showed that you would like to live by yourself or with your siblings and Roy and work in firefighting, which you already mentioned. Do you have a specific place in regards to where you plan on living now, or is it sounded maybe like you were still working things out when you wrote your board packet?
Things a little bit changed a little bit. It still wouldn't be Roy, with my siblings, or either in Ogden with my mom. But I was, I'm kind of just still with. There was your early termination was kind of just where I'd want to go, since my expirations next year in September.
I do show your expiration date, expiration of sentence, assuming no other offenses, is September 30th, 2025.
Yeah, because all of them just expired.
So would you like, so it sounds like you're requesting
Yes, I would.
a termination of
Yeah,
sentence.
either termination or whatever's.
So just to make sure, I don't want to relay the information incorrectly. Are you saying you will refuse parole, or are you just requesting a termination?
I would request early termination, because I don't really see what would,
Be beneficial?
if yeah,
Okay.
it'd be
And I-
beneficial.
And I don't know what the board will do, right?
Right.
But but I will let them know that that's what you would like moving forward,
Yeah.
and that you're requesting that. It sounds like to me that you're not refusing parole, but that obviously you would like a termination.
Yeah, I don't really. Would it sound bad if it was like a refusal of parole?
I mean, I'm just trying to make sure I'm understanding correctly, right?
I kind of would just. I don't know. Does it sound bad if you say refusal of parole?
I mean, if you,
Could I refuse parole? Is that even possible?
I would, I don't want to advise you, ma'am, because I'm not your attorney, right?
Well, right. I know,
So
but
but what I would tell you is that I'm just trying to relay the information properly to the board because I'm a hearing officer and
Right.
I make recommendations. So,
okay.
and
Can you recommend me to repeat?
so I'll note that you're requesting a termination, right? And I'll
Okay.
note they're going to see that your expiration date is about a little less than a year, about 11 months.
Yeah.
right? So they'll see all those things. I just don't know what the board will do. And I just want to make sure that I'm relaying that information as properly as possible.
Okay.
And you don't have to give me an answer right now. If you just want to say you would request a termination, and then I can write
Yes,
that.
I
then
could
we'll
request
see what happens. Okay.
termination. Yeah.
All right, now, those are all of my questions. From here, I'm a hearing officer. I make recommendations. The board
Okay.
ultimately decides. They're made up of 5 members. 3 of them have to come to one decision. That's the decision of the board. You should get that in writing within 2 to 4 weeks. Your family members, your friends, anyone listening to this hearing via video can go to bop.utah.gov. As soon as we have the decision, we post on our website. So it'll take some time. It's not immediate, but it's fast on the website, then the mail, so someone can look that up for you. I would note your guideline is 6 months or November 11th, 2024. The board ultimately decides, right? We've already gone over your expiration of sentence. Do you have any closing comments or questions for myself or for the board?
Yes, I just have this paper that I wrote. Maybe I could share with you. Okay, so I just put, I have accomplished a lot and I'm more receptive, and this improved version of myself begins with a different element, a change, a different reaction, and a different word, a different routine, a different perspective, and a different investment, a different choice. And I'm human and I have the ability to reach out to those, and I have a better purpose. And about where I build up and not fall short, on where I contribute, not where I take away. A growth mindset, something of great value. I show up for this community by serving others, and I show up for myself by taking care of my needs, my mental and physical. I am becoming more and more of myself, and I am more resilient, experienced, and enlightened. I am intuitive and faithful, informed, sympathetic, and more enduring. Skill transformation does not happen at the end; it's in the midst of this all. So please acknowledge this improved version of myself today and what I've accomplished. I'm better and rather improved than and continue the behavior that got me here. And I'm willing to hold myself accountable to this community for my actions and welcome this positive change and redirection from which and any way this goes. So thank you for your time.
I appreciate you taking the time to read that, to write that. It shows you really thought about this hearing, and I really appreciate that. So we'll go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so Utah granted effective 12/10/2024. Now that is like a gift because she had her full term date of 5/10. So it's like 6 months early or 5 months early. But what's shocking to me about this, and I gotta say, I liked her. I thought that there's a certain type of, she had a nice smile. She had some, I thought, positive energy. I actually liked her. I was rooting for her. But the moment that she said, when she's asked the question, do you think that substance abuse program would help? And she says, it's a good crutch, but what I really need is just like a psychologist, and maybe I'm just like drunk on the Mr. Marabella Kool-Aid, and I've seen too many of these parole hearings in the programs. But when I share with you the information that I have that Sir Richard put up, I would say, no, you've lost the right to say that. You are a danger. Let me share with you. She has over 5 DUIs on her record. 5 convictions. Not to mention that her most recent situation, she drove her vehicle off a cliff. You're dangerous. These are the most dangerous offenders. She doesn't even acknowledge that she has a problem. And I get it. Therapy is really important. That's probably is the root of the issue that you need to figure out. But you lost that. Look, 2017. DUI 1, it also says it here. I assume it's the same thing, right? Including possession of spice. Then you move up. Let's go to 7/18/2018, another DUI. And again, the same type of offenses. Let's move up here to 9/10/2018, another DUI. This is number 3. Plus, again, everything else, spice, forgery, blah, blah, blah. 9/30/2018, forgery and possession of paraphernalia. Thank God, no DUI 20 days later. Then 10/2/2018, another DUI. This is a 4th of what we are counting. Plus everything else, right? It's operating without insurance, without registration. Without insurance, you want to do your DUI stuff, you want to drive without a license, fine, but make sure you have insurance. That's just the most tragic when you have these morons crash into you and now you're stuck with the bill. Driving under the influence. Again, this is 7/26. with a suspended license. I mean, they're literally just putting her out in the street and letting her do. And she, not only that, but she's a horrible driver. Apparently, I mean, God, they say you don't get caught every time you do a DUI. Maybe she does. I mean, it looks like she has no idea how to drive. That's her 5th DUI. 6/12/2019, possession of controlled substance, use paraphernalia, driving on a suspended license. I mean, I would only assume, like, what are the odds that this wasn't a DUI? But I don't know. She didn't get that. 12/23/2021. Now this is like going through her different stuff that she's required to do, blah blah blah. And then she has the most recent thing where she drove her car off a cliff, which again I just probably would assume. But there we go. Again, I liked her. I thought that there was something, I don't know, that it seemed like her heart was in the right place, but that you're not helping them by just releasing them into a system, a cycle of repeating itself. There should, like in Louisiana, they'd be like, you know what? And even she's saying, I just want to terminate my sentence. I don't want parole. Just terminate my sentence. And they said, sure, we'll terminate your sentence. So no parole, supervision, nothing. You just get out there and you're going to fail. That's my understanding of at least what we just saw. In Louisiana, they'd be like, let's send you to an intensive 9-month program. Or maybe we'll send you somewhere you might get yourself 3 months out early if you put in the work. But here they are, releasing someone who the odds are just simply stacked against her to succeed, no matter where her heart is. That's my 2 cents on this. Thank you, Sir Richard, for the info. And if you're driving in Utah, be careful. Be safe out there. With that, I'll let you go.
Do you think you need substance use treatment?
Well, I think my biggest area is I think it always helps, having that, crutch right there. But I think that at this point on, like, seeing how my mental state is my biggest problem is where that leads me to all of that, because that's what my biggest downfall is, my mental health.
Okay.